Hello there, my name is Destiny and welcome back to my channel. So this is the third video in the Netflix series, and in this one I'm going to go ahead and start working with the views to make some really basic authentication that's going to be secure. Basic in the sense that it's not going to be really complex, but it's going to have all the functionalities that you want: the login, the logout, the sign up, and a whole lot of things. So that's what we're going to be doing in this video, and we're also going to use Django AllAuth to do it. If you've been following my other series like the Stack Overflow clone, the Django blog, my chats app, and all that, you're going to know that I usually do this like my old way, by coding it down raw instead of using a third-party application or a package. And I've done that a whole lot of time in my videos, but I want to show you guys new ways of actually going ahead to make authentications using other systems and other packages. And that's why I want to use Django AllAuth. So AllAuth is really amazing. Trust me, it's secure. It has all the packages that you need, everything from A to Z, and that's why I want to use it here. So let's go ahead and get started. Now the first thing we're going to do is we want to override this view over here. So as you all know, we're going to be using some sort of class-based views. Okay, it's not going to be class-based view, it's just going to be Django views. It's not going to be class-based view, because I feel like using function-based view for beginners actually helps them know what to do, like instead of using class-based view. So when you're using class-based view, it will just do everything automatically for you, like magic. You know, let's say you wanna like define a create view. Let's say like you want to write a function that's going to help you create a form, or a function that's going to help you delete. All you need to do is come over here and say from Django.views, I think .generic, something like that, then import list view, yeah, then detail view, then create view. So this is how class-based views works. Now let's say, take notes, this is not a tutorial, I'm just trying to show you how class-based views work if you're a beginner. So let's say you want to define a view that's going to help you create, or let's say you want to define like a view that's going to help you check out the detail of your blog post. All you need to do is come over here and say detail based view, or let's say blog detail view. Then you're going to pass in the detail view in there. Then guess what, all you need to do is just come over here and call the model that you want to use. So you're going to say model is equal to let's say blog, something like that, and that's it. Boom, it just works like that. So okay, now how do you know everything that's happened with just these 2 lines of code? You don't understand anything that's going on. If you're a beginner, I'd recommend you just stick with function-based view, and when you already know how everything works and you already know why this works this way and why that works that way, then you can feel free to switch into using class-based views. Don't get me wrong, class-based views is really amazing. It helps you reduce writing a whole lot of code, and it makes your work more neater and all that. But to know the functionality, like the functional ways that things happen, then you should need to stick with function-based view. So I'm going to get rid of this and let's get back to the tutorial fully. I know if I've wasted a whole lot of time, I'm sorry about that. If you don't want to hear all this, you could just skip ahead. And you know, I like making references when talking to help the beginners in our midst. So when we've done this, what we just need to do is define a class home, and we're gonna inherit from the view that we imported above. So what we're gonna do now is define get, and it's gonna take in self, it's gonna take in request, it's gonna take in args and quacks. Take notes, this is just one asterisk. Okay, so with that, now you remember the render that we're returning, it's exactly the same way. We're going to do the same thing, return render request, and we should pass in our Netflix app /index.html, just like that. So now let's head back to our URLs. So the URL isn't going to be the same again. Right now we're going to say from .views import home. So over here what we're going to say is home.asView, and we're going to pass in a parenthesis. So this now, let's see if our server is running. It's running. So let's head back here and refresh. What do you notice? It's working perfectly fine. Okay, so I think that's it for this. Let's just dive right into making the authentications work. So if you want to make the authentication work, firstly you need to install Django AllAuth. So to install Django AllAuth, it's as easy as saying pip install Django AllAuth, just like that. Make sure you have an active internet connection or it's going to throw an error. So pip install Django AllAuth. While installing, let's just head over to their documentation, Django AllAuth. Okay, so over here it says requirements already satisfied. That's because I already have it installed. So if you don't have it installed already, go ahead and install it and get back here. Okay, so when you've installed it, you want to head over to their official documentation. This is it over here. Now, first thing we want to do is go ahead and add some basic configurations. For example, we need to add the contrib.site to our installed app. We need to add a whole lot of things like the account authentication methods, the account email required, and all that. So firstly, you install it. Secondly, the authentication backend, we need to add it. So we could just simply copy this and head over to our settings.py. Let's just say we could paste it somewhere here. So let's just paste it somewhere here like that. And for the installed apps, we need to copy this contrib.site and we need to paste it just above this here. And also we need to copy this ones over here. We need to paste it below this, guys. Okay, and we don't need to copy anything from here. If you want to copy anything from here, that means you want to do something like, and I don't know if you've gone to a site before and you've seen some like log into your account, log into FreePick or something else with your Google account. So except you want to do something like that, then that's when you should use all that. For example, you can see Amazing Cognito, you can see Amazing, you can see Apple. Let's look for Coinbase, let's look for Google. This is Facebook, this is Google. So if you want to do Google, just copy this, paste it down there, and everything is going to work. But it's quite tricky when trying to configure it. So if you don't know how to configure it, I can help you do that. Just drop a comment and I'm going to make a video about that. So the next thing we want to add is a site ID. I'm just going to copy the site ID and let's say I'm going to paste it, just paste it somewhere here. You can paste it anywhere, doesn't really mean. Okay, why is this train an error? Was not closed. Obviously it was closed. Look at it over there. Let's see what's going on. Okay, we're gonna get back to that later. So with this now, I think that's all we need to do. So let's copy the URLs and head over to our, I don't know what's wrong with this. I don't want this to throw an error. Okay, it's still loading up. We're gonna get back to it later. So let's head over to our main urls.py and we want to paste in the URL that we copied just right there. Okay, so it includes this blah 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 blah. That's it. Okay, so after this, I think that's all we need to do. We just need to go ahead and migrate. So python manage.py. Firstly, let's make migrations and let's see if okay, I think there is an error. There is an error. Line 129 settings.py, line 129. Okay, this is where the error is coming from. Now I'm just gonna head back here. I'm gonna copy this again and I'm simply gonna come over here and paste it. Hey, what's going on? Let's see what the error is saying. Invalid syntax. What's going on? Django.contrib.auth.backend to model backend. Let's try making migrations again. Still saying the same thing. Okay, you know what, I'm just gonna head over to the Netflix clone that's completed already and I'm gonna try copying from the settings.py. So this is it. This is the settings.py. I'm gonna open this up and the authentication backend is right over here. I'm gonna copy that. I think I have wait, let me try getting rid of this and this. Okay, yeah, that was the problem. Just get rid of the two and you should be done. Okay, so make migrations again. No changes to migrate. Then we need to migrate this time around. Migrate. Okay, it takes a couple, no time. Yeah, so finally we run our server. Let's see what's gonna happen. Finally, it's working. So I can close this off, and for the AllAuth I can still leave it, but we don't need it for anything. Let's just leave it there. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is head over to the settings.py again, and we want to add in some basic configurations. Firstly, let's come over to these configurations and let's see some things there. Okay, so this is what I want to add in. Now we need things like account authentication method, this one. So what this is simply going to do is, you know, when you want to log into Django, you use your username, email, password 1 and password 2. Password 1 and password 2 stands for password confirmations. So that's what you use when you want to log in. But right now we don't want to use that. We just want to use the email. Instead, we just want to use email. Hopefully you understand. Then we want to use Django email resource. Let's look for that. Okay, required, not resource. So yeah, just like that, it should be false, and that should be working fine. So the next thing we need is account email verification. Let me just go ahead and type this down. It's going to be more faster. So we need account email verification, and we're gonna set this to none. Let's actually see if that's what they use there. Okay, there's optional, there's none. So we want to set this to none. So we don't need to like verify any email before we log in. Hopefully you understand. Then we also need an account username required, account underscore username underscore required. And this is gonna be, let's see the options that I have there. Let's look for it. Okay, account username required is true. Account username required, let's just leave it as false for now. But if we need to change that, we're gonna still change it later in this video. So lastly, login redirect URL. This is over here. Come over here and paste that in. Then it should be false. Okay, so I think that's pretty much what we've got. Now when we come over to our site, let's see if this is still running. Run the server again, and okay, I think there is an error somewhere. Let's see. So what you pretty much need to do is add in account authentication method is email, account email required is true, account email verification is none, and account username required is false. Just as that, run your server and everything is going to work fine. So after this, now when we come over to here and we head over to /account/signup, what do you notice? Okay, it says it needs to get to a profile. Let's see, login. Okay, it needs to get to a profile, meaning that we need a login URL. So login URL should be login. Now let's refresh this again and see. Let's say Netflix app, let's say login, just like that. Okay guys, so as you can see, we are encountering this error that says page not found. So that's because we are logged in. Now if we log out from here and come over here now and try going over to login, what do you notice? It now works. So we can either log in with an email address, deskfix@gmail.com. Now we log in. Let's see, password is that. Okay, so okay, this is not still working yet. We're still going to configure this. So we can log in, we can go over to the sign up instead. So we can come over to sign up first. We don't have an account yet, that's why it's showing this. So I can either sign up an account, let's say gift@gmail.com, and password should be that, password again should be that, sign up. So you see the password is too similar to email address. So as you can see, the authentication is working totally fine. Now the next thing we want to do is go ahead and override this template. As you can see, the template isn't looking good at all. It looks so ugly. So what we need to do is head over to our base template. So over here, so you remembered we were using, so you remembered in the template over here we had this index that wasn't working. Then that's why we transferred it to Netflix app, and then we created a template over here that we now called base and this blah blah blah. So what I'm going to do now is copy the base and the index, and I'm going to put it back to this place. I'm going to replace just like that. Now if you come over here and refresh, don't expect to see anything. You see, don't expect to see anything. But what we're gonna do now is simply come over to our views, and we're gonna get rid of this. Firstly, we're gonna get rid of that. Now when we refresh this, let's refresh that again. Okay, it says template does not exist at index.html. Don't worry, we're still gonna fix that. So over here, the template is here, the index, okay, let's head over to base, and we wanna get rid of this. Okay, so this now, let's refresh. Okay, so finally when we've done this, now you want to head back to the settings, and you remembered we got rid of the os.parts.join. So right now we want to join it again. That's what we're going to be using now. So we want to join the base there and the templates. So with this, finally when we refresh, it should work now. Okay, so this is what we have now. It's working perfectly fine. Now the next thing we want to do is go ahead and overwrite the sign up page. You remembered it was really ugly. This is how it was looking, so we want to overwrite it. So what we want to do is create a new folder inside the template folder, and we're going to call this folder accounts. We're going to call it accounts, just like that. I hope it's accounts and not accounts. So inside the account, then we're going to create a new one, and we're going to call it login.html. So we're going to call it login.html. So with that, now when we refresh this, come over to sign up, and let's see, we still have nothing. Okay, I think this was supposed to be accounts, not accounts. Okay, it's renaming the file account. Now let's see. Okay, so as you can see, when we refresh, there's nothing in the account. That's because the login.html is blank over here. So what we're going to do is go ahead and copy our templates that we have already built out. Copy the login.html, everything inside it. We're just going to copy, and we're going to paste it in here just like that. Now when we come over here and refresh, this is what we are having now. Still pretty ugly. So what we want to do is just simply load the static. So we're gonna say, firstly, we want to load static. Secondly, we want to do this. Okay, let's just say we want to load static and also extends. So I'm gonna copy that and place it here, and also I'm gonna copy this, get rid of this, place it here, but we're gonna call this one end block. So this now, when we refresh, okay, it says this. Okay, so this is what we have right now, looking pretty good. We can now log in with our credentials and all that, and this is not bad at all. So let's go ahead and fix out some things. For example, like the background still not loading up, so I'm just gonna cut this, and I'm gonna put it in a template tag, static, paste it in there just like that. And when we refresh, you can see that, okay, this is where we have the errors. This is the login, this is the email, this is the sign in. Okay, that's pretty amazing. But for now, we won't know if a user is signed in or signed out because we don't know. So what we need to do is head over to the base, and we need to look for the button that says sign in. This is it over here. So what we need to do is just change things up a bit. So we're gonna define this. We're gonna say if user dot is authenticated, just like this. Or let's say if request dot user dot is authenticated, then we're gonna pass it down there then we're gonna say else and end if. Okay, so hopefully you understand what this is doing. So if a user is logged in, then we want to show them logout, but if they are not logged in, we want to show them sign in. Hopefully you understand. So let's try logging in from our admin again, and let's see if that works. Okay, we are logged in the admin. Now when we refresh, okay, it says reverse for home not found. Let's see what's going on. Reverse for home. Let's head over to the settings.py and let's see Netflix app home. Okay, so now we are logged in the admin. Now if we head over to our site and refresh, what do you notice? Now we see logout. That's because we are logged in, but we don't have any way to log out yet. Okay, we can actually log out using the URL. When we come over to /account/logout, now you can see it says, are you sure you want to sign out? Then we say sign out, and as you can see now it says sign in. So we can actually sign in again. We can say account/login, just like that. I'm gonna say deskfix@gmail.com. Okay, right now we don't have any user that has this email, so that's why it's not going to log us in. So as you can see, it's pretty working nice. Now the next thing we need is the sign up. Let's see how the sign up is looking now. Okay, as you can see, it's looking really bad, so we need to fix the sign up page. And in order to fix it, we remembered we have a template that's called sign up. This is it over here. So we're just going to open this up and we're going to copy everything in here and come over to this place, and we're going to create a new sign up.html, just like that. And in the sign up.html, we're going to paste in what we just copied. Let's just give it a couple seconds. So it's going to go ahead and create, and we're going to paste this in. Now when we come over here and refresh, what do you notice? This is what we have now. So pretty much what we need to do is just copy this. What we are doing here is just extending, and so that we don't have codes written all the whole place, so we don't have codes that are repeating themselves. So that's why we are just extending and doing all that. Header, so we need to end block content. Now we need to refresh. So as you can see, looking good. This is actually what we wanted. But for the background, remember we still need to fix this, add it to a template tag. So static, then add it to a template tag and refresh. Okay, so right now the login page and the sign up page is actually looking good. Now we can go ahead and make the functionality in a way that when we put in an email, put in a password and confirm the password, we can sign up and it would automatically log the users in. Hopefully you understand. So let's go ahead and start doing that. Okay, so in order to make this functional, we need to do a couple things. For example, you see this form over here, we want to add a method, and this method is going to be post. And whenever we are using a post method in Django, we're going to add in a CSRF token, just like that. So post method, CSRF token. Now the first thing we're going to do is head over to the email, and in the input we want to change up some things. For example, the type is going to be email, the name email, the ID is ID email, the placeholder is your email. But I want to make reference to the one that I've completed already, so we don't actually get errors. So I'm gonna head over to accounts. Then what are we working on right now? We should be working on sign up. So I'm gonna open up sign up.html. Okay, so as you can see, we have email. Now the type is email. Let's compare it with ours, because that's like the normal way we do it in Django AllAuth. The type should be email. As you can see, the name is email too. The ID is email ID. The placeholder is your email. So make sure yours is like this. And the type for the password is type. The name is password 1, and the ID should be ID password 1. Take note, ID password 1. So if you don't get all this, it's not going to work. You just need to follow this. Just follow this particular way of doing it, and it's going to work. So for this one, the type is going to be password 2. The So it's going to password 2, ID is going to be ID password 2. So for the button, you want to make sure that you're adding a type of submit to it, just like that, and you can leave the sign up. So we need to add one more thing, and this is this conditional statement over here that shows that if this field is like a redirectable field, then we simply want to redirect them to the particular field that we want them to go. Hopefully you understand what that means. So if redirect underscore field value, so if this field has a value that is going to redirect them to, meaning that if we hit the sign up button, do you want to redirect them to the home page or somewhere? So if it has something like that, then we're going to redirect them to a particular place that we are still going to be naming. So that's what this simply does. So with this, now let's come over to our sign up page and let's refresh it. It's still working fine. Now let's try creating a new user and sign up. Okay, what do you notice? I think it's created the user, but it says reverse for home not found. Home is not a valid, blah blah blah. But I actually don't know where this error is coming from. We need to look for where this error is coming from and fix it. So reverse for home not found. It should definitely be in the URLs. Netflix app URLs. Okay, so it should be an uppercase H, just like that. So that was the mistake. Now when we refresh, let's try creating the user again, sign up. Okay, what do you notice? It automatically logs the user in. So this is working perfectly well now. Hopefully you understood everything we did. It was really quite easy. And now when we come over to our back end and come over to email addresses, we can see that we have 2 users now created. Hopefully you understand. So we have 2 users now created. Let's see, we have this, let's see, okay, and this. So it's working perfectly fine. We don't have the functionality to log out yet, but the sign up is working perfectly fine now. So how about the sign in? How does that work? Now when we come over to /accounts/login/login, okay, we are logged in, so we can go to login again. What we need to do is log out. So /account/logout. Yes, we want to log out. Okay, so when we come over to /account/login, so how do we make this login form actually work? But before that, we want to check for errors. You remember we have all this error field over here. That's specifically, this one is specifically for the sign up page. We also have error fields for the login page. So for the sign up page, we need to head over to our code and head over to sign up.html. So in this place that we have all this that says email not doesn't batch, that's where we need to run the conditional statements to check for errors. So what we need to do is come over here and we're gonna say if form.errors. So if form.errors, then we want to pass in some kind of errors in here instead of email is not valid. So we're gonna say form.errors.email. So get rid of that, form.errors.email. So if there is an error for the email, then we're gonna call form.errors.email. And also if there is an error for the password one, and also for the password 2, so we're gonna call errors for those 2. So now let's get back to the sign up page /sign up. There is an error over here. Let's see, it says invalid block this. Okay, so we need to end this if. So we're gonna come over here and end if. Okay, so now when we refresh, everything should work fine. Let's see. Okay, so let's try putting in an email and let's try putting a password that doesn't match. So what do you see? It says you must type the same password each time. So now let's put in an email, or let's say you want to put in an email that already exists. Yeah, let's say we want to put in an email that already exists. Now what does it say? It says a user is already registered with this email address. So as you can see, the errors are actually loading up correctly, but I don't think we have a style now. Let's just add a style. That's gonna give a color of red to the errors. I think that's pretty much what we want. Then we should be done with this. Okay, still not showing up. No biggie, we could just leave it provided it's working fine. So that's it for loading up errors in the sign up. So everything about the sign up is working fine. That's it. Everything about the sign up is working fine. Okay, so the next thing we want to do, let's refresh this. Let's make sure we logged out before creating the sign in. So we're gonna say log out. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is go ahead and create for the sign in. So that's the login. So in order to create for the login, we need to come over here, and in the form we're gonna put a method of post. You remembered, we're gonna add in a CSRF underscore token, and over here we still need to call some form fields thing. So we need to say if form dot, I think it should be if form dot errors, if form dot errors, yeah, just like that. Oh, I don't think that's what we're supposed to do. We need to call this. Okay, we could just call it down there. So if form dot errors, and so if there is an error in the form, then we're gonna call form dot errors in here. Okay, so in here we're gonna call form dot errors, just like that. Okay, let's say it shouldn't be form dot errors, it should be form dot non-field errors instead. Errors. Okay, so for the email, you remember what we did? We named this email, we named the name email, ID email, and that. So this is going to be name, this is going to be password 1 and ID password 1. So in case we want to verify and see if that's actually what I used, you can see here we have type password, we have name password, and we have ID password. So that's actually what we did here. Type password, name password, ID password. Now for this one, it's quite different. So you remember we actually used email in the first one, but this time around we won't be using email. So the name is going to be login. Instead, the name is going to be login. You remembered we are actually logging in this time around, and the ID is going to be ID login. Hopefully you understand. Then ID log in, just like that. Now the next thing we're going to do is let's see, we also need to pass in type in the button. In the button we need to pass in type should be equal to submit. Okay, so let's go ahead and see if everything works fine now with this. Okay, so now we come over to /accounts/login. Then we want to log in with an email that we created earlier, or let's just create a new email because I've actually forgotten. Okay, let's say we want to login with this email. Let's see. Okay, so I already have that email, testfix@gmail.com. So what do you notice? It logs us in perfectly well. Hopefully you understood what's going on. Now when we come over to /logout, so when we come over to /logout, and now we want to create a new account again, do you know what we're going to do? Let's just configure these buttons over here so we don't have to always go back and forth and all that again. So to configure this, we're going to come over here, and it's going to be URL, and that's going to be account underscore sign up. I think, yeah, this is it, account underscore sign up, and we need to get over to the sign up page, and this one is going to be account underscore login, and we need to head over to the base.html. This one is going to be account underscore logout, and this one is going to be account underscore login. Okay, so with this, now let's come over here and refresh, and when we click sign in, it brings us to the sign in. Sign up, it brings us to the sign up. So this is way more faster. So for the login, let's try logging in with an email that doesn't exist. So we're gonna say dot this, then we hit login. Okay, it says the email address specified are not correct. So that's exactly what we wanted. But for the login, let's create a new account, and that's it. Mock selling whatever. We sign up. As you can see, we are logged in, so we can log out. And now let's try logging in again with the new email that we created, and let's see if everything works as expected. That's login. Boom, that's pretty much it. Everything is working as expected. We can log in, we can log out, we can create a new user, and everything is working perfectly well. So what we need to do now is head over to our Django admin and see if everything actually takes note or effects there. Okay, come over to email addresses, and what do you notice? Now we have 4 email addresses. So I think that should be it for this video. We are done with the authentication. Everything is working perfectly fine. Logging in, logging out. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it and learned something new. Actually learned how to authenticate users using Django AllAuth. It's really amazing, and there's still a lot to it, and I'm actually still learning how to use Django AllAuth. I'll make more tutorials showing you guys how to actually improve on it. But if you guys did enjoy this video and learn something new, do not forget to drop a like and consider subscribing. You can also drop a comment in the comment section if you have any issues or problems, and I'm gonna help you solve them. I hope I will see you guys in the next video, where we're gonna go ahead and start creating the main functionality of this Netflix app. In the meantime, I'd love, peace out.